In this next section, we will be looking at the 152 inspection card manual. We'll be looking at who the intended users are, which are mostly project inspectors, though there is also information that's helpful for special inspectors, and design professionals should have a working knowledge of this document, as should laboratories and others. So what is it? It's essentially a guide to fill out the DSA 152 project inspection card. Therefore, it contains information about testing, inspections, and the resulting documentation that's necessary to fill out the inspection card. We can take a quick peek at the format of the items mentioned above so you have an idea of how it's been laid out. Roman numeral 1 generally will be identifying what types of documentation must be received by you, the project inspector. This is usually going to be covering material and structural tests as shown in Roman numeral 1A, and then 1B would be the special inspections or other observations. Roman numeral 2 covers the inspection of the items associated with the constructed elements. By and large, this is the format that is used for the various topics covered in the inspection manual, though there are some exceptions to this. This is a very large document covering it's roughly 350 pages. Therefore, you really only want to be referring to the particular sections of interest to you, similar to the building code in which you are only going to be referring to certain chapters of interest. We'll now go through and take a brief look and get an overview of the contents of the inspection card. It essentially has 5 chapters and 2 appendices. The first chapter deals with administration. It also includes the inspection card correlation matrix. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. Chapter 2 deals with structural safety. Chapter 3, fire life safety. Chapter 4 is access compliance. And Chapter 5 includes other building components and systems. While DSA generally tends to focus on structural, fire life safety, and access features of a project, we do recognize that project inspectors must inspect all aspects of construction. Therefore, these other building components and systems generally include some of the mechanical, plumbing, electrical, and so on that are likely to occur for new construction on a given building. The Appendix A provides the DSA 103 correlation matrix, and Appendix B includes reference DSA forms. We'll talk a little bit more now about the matrices that are included in this document. In Chapter 1, for the administration, we've talked about how Section 1.1 has the inspection card correlation matrix. Starting off with that, though, is that summary information that was previously mentioned. It helps to identify the typical construction components for each block, which are also in PR 1301 in the appendix. With regards to the 152 correlation matrix, it's essentially the key link between the inspection card and the manual. You'll notice that the block numbers match that found in the inspection card, as do the section numbering. That's going to match as well between this correlation matrix and the inspection card. This information shown here provides the description of the abbreviation used within this correlation matrix. A refers to administration, SS refers to structural safety inspection items, FLS would be the fire life safety inspection items, and ACS refers to the access compliance inspection items. Let's look at Chapter 1 in the administration a little bit more. You'll see here that the administration includes several different documents that would be of interest to you as the project inspector. It identifies what the job site documents are, and initially starts off with those that are required prior to construction occurring. You as the project inspector need to have in your possession the DSA approved construction documents. Those are briefly listed as far as the drawings and plans, specifications, any addenda revisions, the DSA 103, and so on. There's also the DSA 102 IC, which is the construction start notice and the inspection card request, and the 152 project inspection card, which we've already talked about earlier. Then when it comes to required documentation during construction, there's also further information provided in the manual related to those documents. This screenshot shows that there's going to be the material or structural test documentation, and there's going to be it's important for you as the project inspector to verify that the lab that's providing the material and structural testing is approved by DSA to provide such services, depending upon the nature of that work. You can go to DSA's Laboratory Evaluation and Acceptance Program webpage to learn more about which labs are approved for which types of material tests and special inspections. There's also a listing of various forms, or templates, I should say, that are associated with various test reports that you may receive, again based upon the nature of the testing, material testing and structural tests that are occurring on your project. While these multiple different forms that are shown here, these again are templates, not forms, these templates do not have to be used by the testing lab, but the information contained within those templates must be provided. Therefore, since you provide the monitoring of the testing and inspection program, that is, through the tests that are provided, the material and structural tests provided by the laboratory, as well as the special inspections, it's worth you becoming familiar with what those required elements are within each of those templates shown. Continuing on, there's also going to be various special inspection documentation that you will be receiving. It's important for you to make sure that those individuals who are coming out to perform special inspections for your project have valid certifications. DSA has several specific types of special inspection certifications that we recognize that would be in addition to what is normally recognized in the construction industry. For example, with respect to concrete, DSA does have a requirement for a shotcrete special inspector certification. Similarly, we have the DSA masonry special inspector certification, and for wood construction, there's the glulam special inspectors, DSA glulam special inspectors. And there's others also listed as far as those. Now, we do not necessarily have DSA certifications for steel-related construction, and these ones therefore we recognize those individuals that would normally be recognized in the construction industry, such as for the high-strength bolting special inspectors that they have an ICC bolting certification, an S1, and so on. Continuing on, there's further information related to special inspection documentation, and one item that's going to be of interest to you as a project inspector are those special inspection reports, those that are often provided on a daily basis. There is a form or DSA template, DSA 250, the special inspector report, that provides a suggested format and the required content for special inspections. Though IR 17.6 is shown in this screenshot, it is no longer in existence because the structural special inspector duties and responsibilities are now included in the administrative code in section 4-335F. There's also a new IR 1712 that deals with the minimum requirements for the content in special inspection reports, though it's not reflected in this screenshot. The next item, as you can see in this screenshot from the inspection manual, is the project inspector documents. I won't be going through all of the information here, but wanted to make sure that you're aware of these kinds of information that are in this inspection card manual. It is worth noting, though, that the IRA 8 and PR 1301 have additional information for you as a project inspector. Recall that the IRA 8 identifies what the duties and responsibilities are for you as a project inspector. Continuing on with further information within the inspection manual, there's also a section that covers structural testing. There's other documents such as the contractor submittals, such as you might receive related to the construction schedules, design professional approved shop drawings, certificates, product labels, and so on. There's additional information, as can be seen, just so you're aware, of the administrative content in Chapter 1 of the Inspection Card Manual. Continuing on with some more information in Chapter 1, Section 1.2.2.1 has deferred submittal information. 1.2.2.2 has construction change document information. This is only going to be for Type A. Recall Type A is associated with structural, fire life safety, or access portions of the work. The next section, 1.2.2.3, deals with the notice of deviations and resolution of deviations, which you've already learned about before as far as the DSA form 154. And then 1.2.2.4 covers interim verified reports, of which the inspection card serves as an interim verified report for you, the project inspector. There are several others that are also required to provide interim verified reports in order to provide the necessary documentation in order to properly complete each of the sections on the inspection card that would be applicable to a given building. As far as documentation that's required after construction is completed, that's what section 1.2.3 covers. And this is when we get into more what have in the past often been referred to as the final verified reports. There's many individuals that are listed here. You've already seen many of these ones listed previously in other modules and sections, so I won't go through them now. Section 1.2.4 identifies some of the codes and reference standards that would be applicable to your project. Keep in mind that whatever would be applicable is not necessarily based upon the date in which a code became effective, but the date at which the project was initially submitted to DSA. So even though you could be in the year of 2020 or 2021, it could be that a given project was initially submitted and approved based upon the 2016 building codes, or perhaps an earlier version. With regards to the Appendix A, the DSA 103 correlation matrix, it serves as a key link between the DSA 103, which is essentially the testing and inspection list that's going to be of most help to the testing lab so that they understand what their scope of work is for a given project. So again, this 103 correlation matrix provides the link between the 103 and the 152, and that's briefly shown here. You'll notice again that there are different numbers and letters that would be the same as what you would find on the DSA 103.